This morning, I want to look at Matthew chapter 25, and we're going to look at verses 14 through 30. And I've been thinking about this passage for a couple of weeks, and thinking about our abilities, our talents, our gifts, and how are we using them in the kingdom. And so it's a warning in here, but there's also a promise. And so we want to look at both of those. So let's get started. Matthew 25, verse 14, it says, "Again, it will be like a man going on a journey, who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. To one he gave 5 talents of money, to another 2 talents, and to another 1 talent, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. The man who had received 5 talents went at once and put his money to work and gained 5 more. So also the one who with 2 talents gained 2 more. But the one who had received 1 talent went off, dug a hole in the ground, and hid his master's money. After a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The man who had received the 5 talents brought the other 5. 'Master,' he said, 'you entrusted me with 5 talents. See, I have gained 5 more.' His master replied, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.' The man who had 2 also came. 'Master,' he said, 'you entrusted me with 2 talents. See, I have gained 2 more.' His master replied, 'Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness.' The man who had received 1 talent came. 'Master,' he said, 'I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. So I was afraid and went out and hid your talent in the ground. See, here is what belongs to you.' His master replied, 'You wicked, lazy servant. So you knew that I harvested where I did not sow and gather where I have not scattered seed. Well then, you should have put my money on deposit with the bankers, so that when I returned, I would have received it back with interest. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has 10 talents. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.'" So this morning I wanted to look at this parable. And the first thing as we look at this parable, we think about possibly ownership. We also think about stewardship. And one of the things, it starts here and it says, again, it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted his property to them. Now, it's good for us to know that this is speaking about God, and God entrusts us with his stuff to manage it, to take care of it. We go all the way back to the Garden of Eden, and what did God tell Adam? He said, "Here's the garden. I want you to manage it. I want you to tend it, take care of it." And God then went and left for the day. At that point, he'd come back every day and see how the progress, see what's going on. "Hey, Adam, what do you find to do? What are you doing?" And I could just imagine Adam saying, "Oh, over here, I want you to see what I've been doing." You know what I mean? I mean, it'd kind of cool, right? If you could actually have God come and visit, and you could draw from his wisdom every day. And it's kind of true. We still do that today, but not with God just being visibly present with us. We deal with God, interact with God in a faith basis, Sometimes we're like, sure, God, is this you? You know? But we start with this parable realizing that everything belongs to God. We are simply stewards of all his goods. Often the attitude that is present in this is, I have the right to do whatever I want to do with what belongs to me. It's my stuff, right? I'm going to use it the way I want to use it. And in some extent, that's probably true. God's not a micromanager. But in the other case, we also need to, again, understand that everything belongs to him, and someday we'll be held accountable for what we do with what we own. In Psalms 50:10, it says, "For every beast of the forest is mine," this is the Lord speaking, "and the cattle upon 1,000 hills are his." There's a song that says, "He, which is the Lord, owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, the wealth of every mine. He owns the rivers and the rocks and the rills and the sun and the stars that shine." And so, as we open up this parable, the first thing we see is that God is talking about stuff, and here we're going to get into the idea of talents, but in everything belongs to God, and we are the stewards of that. Each receives a talent, and that's so important for us to see. The reference to talent here is twofold. First, it is a reference to money. Each talent in those days was like a coin that was worth, in today's dollars, about $1,000. And the commentary that I read from was written back in the 70s. So inflation, it's even maybe more than $1,000. But around, if you look at this as they were given a coin or given a value of money of around $1,000 per talent. And when we think about the idea of talents today, not only in our language do we equate it to money, but we equate it to ability. Now, when we look at the Webster Dictionary, ability is a being able, power to do something physically or mentally. Ability equals skill, expertise, talents. And so when we think about this, not only were we thinking about, and it's included this idea that not only did they receive money, but they received an ability to accomplish something. Now, I mean, we can relate that again to finances. If you have, there's probably things that you're saving up for, right? You say, man, if I could have this much money, then I would have the ability to do this. For the church, it's like if we had 80,000, we could have the ability to finish up our new edition and be finished with that, right? So finance gives you ability. But along with the idea of just finances is also this idea of talent. And talent is a gift or an ability for a specific action. For example, I may have the talent to sing. I don't, but Tanisha and Stephanie do, and some of you guys, I listen to you out there, you have that talent, you have that gift of music, you have that gift to sing. Now, if I was going to go down to Walmart, put up a little, get out a little guitar and put up a little basket, or go to the park and stand in the corner and sing, I guarantee you no one would put money in my bucket because I would scare them away, right? They wouldn't be there enjoying it and saying, oh, that's great, sounds so good, man, I'm drawn. They might put money in the bucket because they'd want me to go away. Would you go now? I don't have the ability to do that. But God has gifted each one with different abilities. And he has given each one of us different talents. And it's so important for us to realize that. Even when we think of your ability to earn a living, your ability, your career, your job, the skill set that you have to do that is given by God. Exodus 31, verse 1, it says, "Then the Lord said to Moses, 'See, I have chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God.'" And so you think, okay, this guy's going to be a priest or something, right? He's filled with the Spirit of God. But I want you to know why he was filled with the Spirit of God. Filled with the Spirit of God with skill, ability, and knowledge in all kinds of crafts, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of craftsmanship. And so many times we think about, well, I want to be filled with the Spirit so I can do some kind of a spiritual activity. But no, even the filling of the Spirit will help us in choosing our career and choosing our job and discovering our skill set, our talents that we are to use in the kingdom. And so our talents are going to vary, okay? And as they vary and we discover them, then we will use them to earn a living, okay? Our talent. So the ability, some of you have been given the ability to teach, to work with wood, to be a carpenter, a jeweler, an airman, a salesman, a farmer. God has given us all of those abilities specifically. And we need each other. We need those abilities. Those coming together make us stronger. And so it's important to notice that each is given talents, okay? And they're not all given the same number of talents. And so the next thing we see here is the idea that each were given according to their ability. So we don't all have the same talent or ability, but that doesn't mean that we are not valuable or useful in the kingdom. We're given a talent to develop and use. Some will be naturally better because they just naturally have more ability. Doesn't mean that we can't work on a talent to improve our ability. Sometimes it means that no matter how much work we put into improving a talent, we will never improve it. We'll never accomplish it. Some of you know that I'm the preacher, but I also dabble in carpentry, right? And as we have been remodeling this building that is joining our church now, I've had people say ask me questions, and then they'll say, well, how do you know how to do the next thing? And honestly, I've never taken a carpentry class. I've never done anything except for watch my dad build things. But it just comes natural to me. I just know what to do next. It's kind of like when I garden. Some people ask me, well, how do you know the difference between weeds and what you plant? And I don't know. I just know. When I was a little kid, Mom took me out to the garden and said, can you tell me the difference between what I planted and what the weeds are? And at a very young age, I could do that. It was just a talent that God gave. It was ability that God gave me, right? And so they're God-given abilities that we have and that we can use. Now, and I would imagine that the more I do building and carpentry, hopefully the better I will become. But there are some things, doesn't matter how much I seem to around computers, I'll just use that as an example. I mean, many times Jerry will tell me, do this and this and this, and you will get this accomplished. And I do this and this and this, and I'm suddenly lost. And I'll have to say, Jerry, what happened? It didn't work. And he'll go, oh, the computer went routed differently, so now you got to do this and this and this. Man, anytime I have problems, I just call Jerry. I don't know how to fix the computer. I don't know. I have to be told how to do that, okay? And I don't know. I don't know why I don't get it. but it just doesn't come naturally. It's not my talent, it's not my ability. But when Jerry's in the back, he doesn't tell me how to do the carpentry. He helps me. When I'm out here working on my computer, I don't tell him how to fix my computer. I let him help me. And you know what? Because we have different talents, we have different abilities, and working together, it creates this interdependence. I need Jerry. Jerry needs me. And that's the church. When we come together as believers, we come together as people of the kingdom, we need each other and we need our talents and our abilities. So you can look at it and say, well, you know, you maybe have 4 talents or 5 talents. I only have 2. It's important to know that we're not judged on how many we have. We're not judged on our ability, okay? And that's so important. We're still very valuable within the kingdom because it comes down to this. Psalms 139, verse 14, it says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know them full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. You saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. God created you. He knit you together, and he gave you the abilities, the talents that you have today. And so we need to thank him for those gifts. And we need to work on discovering what gifts we have, what talents we have, and then use them in the kingdom. I found this phrase, and I kind of like it. It says, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And so you can say, well, I don't have, I'm not gifted. Well, if you put everything you got into it, you will accomplish great things. And so the next thing I want you to notice here, and we're as we go through this, is this idea of there is a day coming of accountability. The first 2 men reported that they had doubled their talents given them. In reply, the master said exactly the same words of commendation to both servants. The reward he promised was based on faithfulness, not ability. It is extremely significant that both servants were commended for being good and faithful, not for being capable and clever. These are 2 honest, solid virtues everyone can have, the poor as well as the rich, the uneducated as well as the brilliant intellect. These are the only 2 things God requires of everyone, that he be good in character and faithful in service. I think that's so important because we want to judge on our ability. We want to judge on our talent. And God doesn't judge on that. Okay, the one that had 5 talents, yes, he brought 5 more back, but he was praised because he was a good and faithful servant. The one that had 2 talents came back with 2 more, and he was praised because he was a good and faithful servant. That's what God requires. He doesn't look at us, and he knows he's created us. He knows that some of us are more given or gifted maybe than others, but he doesn't judge us based on that. He judges us based on are we good and are we faithful? So when we look at that, we see that these were given 5, 2, and 1 talent, but we also have to realize that they utilized their talents. And so there's a challenge here that we're to utilize the gifts that God has given us. So it is wrong to bury your talent, your gift. We bury it when we refuse to use it as God intended. Note the way that these men invested what God had given them. first man invested 5 and gained 5. The second man invested 2 and gained 2. But the third man refused to invest his talent. Instead, he buried it in the ground. The master's reaction to the one who refused to invest was anything but positive. He rebuked him, calling him wicked and slothful, telling him he should have done something with what he had received. And so the one who had the 1 talent, came with his whining complaint and his stupid alibi. If he knew his master was so demanding, it was all the more reason why he should have traded his talent and gained something. Then the man who had received the 1 talent came. Master, he said, I knew that you are a hard man, harvesting where you have not sown, and gathering where you have not scattered seed. This means gathering from a place where you have not thrashed. That is, gathering into your storehouse from another man's threshing floor. What the servant implied was exacting interest where you have not made an investment. The French have a good saying for this man. He who excuses himself accuses himself. The master condemned the selfish, do-nothing servant as wicked and slothful. The last word means idle, lazy. The man could have at least taken the money to the bank and drawn interest on it. Now, I wonder how that looks in our lives. We have some talents, and sometimes our talents are hidden, right? Instead of trying to discover them, and sometimes it's even by doing new things, we discover a hidden talent. And so are we going to let those talents lay there buried, or are we going to dig them up and use them for the kingdom? Sometimes the talent is obvious, and yet we make excuses. We bury them. How do we bury them? Sometimes, in this man, he said he was fearful. And fear can cause us to bury our talents and bury our gifts. And there are 3 kinds of fear. First, the fear of self-doubt. I don't think I could ever do anything for God, which that's just the enemy trying to lie to you, right? But it creates that fear. Second, a fear of self-pity. I would serve God if he would bless me like he did brother so-and-so. And I've seen people use that excuse. Third, self-consciousness. If I served God, what would my friends or family think? What would other people think? Honestly, sometimes when you serve God and you give up, and you get up front in front of people, it seems like you're always self-conscious. You know? And that can keep you from doing it. But we got to push through those. And we have to say, no, I'm going to do this for the kingdom. And if you look at it, when I was called into the ministry, I didn't say, okay, that's just what I want to do. I know I'm born for that. No, I looked for opportunities to say, okay, God, show me. Is that really the gifting you've given to me? And he gave me an opportunity to teach once in the adult Sunday school class. I took the opportunity. It went well. I was like, well, that went better than I thought it would, you know. And there were just step by step, him confirming his call, his confirming, this is the talent I'm giving you. And so you got talents, and maybe it's not to be up front. Maybe it's to be in the sound booth. Maybe it's to be a greeter. Maybe it's to be, maybe it's to be a musician. I don't know. Maybe a teacher, whatever it is, in the body. Maybe it's to help the pastor with his computers. Or maybe right now we could use a tile layer. Maybe you lay tile. I don't know what your gifting is, but don't bury those gifts. Use them for the master. So there is a day of accounting coming. And we need to be thinking about that as well. When the master returned, he called them together. And it said that he had been gone for a long time. So they had plenty of time to accomplish something for the kingdom. But he called them together, and as I said, he said to them, "Well done, good and faithful." Are we being faithful with God, what God has given to us? Or are we just setting those things aside? Someday I'll get to it. Someday I'll do that. There's no better time as you take a look at the giftings God has given to you, your talents, and say, okay, what am I contributing to the kingdom? And maybe even going to God and say, God, what of my talents do you want me to contribute to the kingdom? Because we can't excuse ourselves. Verse 21 says, "You have been faithful with a few things. I will put you in charge of many things. Come and share your master's happiness." William Barclay, when he summed this parable up, he said this: God gives different gifts to different people. The reward of work well done is still more work to do. And I thought about that. I was like, wow, what a statement. You know, because so many times it's like, we always think, oh, I'm gonna get done. I'm gonna finish that up, you know. But then as we do finish that project, we always find something else to do. Somebody is asking us to do something. Yesterday, as we finished up the men's meeting and I was wanting to hurry up and leave, I got pulled back in. And they had several questions for me about Scripture and about things that they were discussing. And it was like, oh, man. So it's so true. If you do something well, you're going to get asked to do it again and again and again, and probably more and more and more. So that's the reward of things done well. The man who is punished is the man who will not try. When I work with kids, especially kids, I guess, but I sometimes hear adults say this, like, no, I'm afraid to try. I'm kind of a pusher, right, Stephanie? I remember taking her to camp, doing the zip line. She didn't like heights. She did it, right? She maybe didn't like it, but she did it. Because I was there, right, to get her on. I still have this one girl who was a part of that same camp who every time she sees me, she's like, man, I can't believe you got me to do the zip line. She was afraid to do it, right? But because I got her to do it, I pushed her to do it, it was thrilling and fun, and she loved it. And she'll never forget me for it. But you got to try. And sometimes you need somebody there to kind of push you, to get you to try new things. That's how you discover some of your hidden talents. To him that has shall be given, and from him that hath not shall be taken away that which he has. And that's, to me, kind of a frightening thing. When I stand before the Lord and I share my talents, I trust that I'll be like, well, I had one talent. I got one more, you know? At least I pray. I work hard to make sure. I hope that on Judgment Day, that's how it'll work out. I can maybe say I got 2 talents. I had 2 more, right? You want to come back with something to give the master. And so we can't be just sitting around letting somebody else do it. God has a place for you in his kingdom. He has a purpose for you in the kingdom. I want to see us all be good stewards of our talents and step up. It was so exciting to see our Christmas program, to see the number of people when I kind of threw it out there to see how, it's kind of a, like, well, we'll see how this goes kind of thing. And there are people who jumped on it right away and say, yeah, I'll do that. I love to do that. And it wasn't hard to get the cast filled. And we haven't done an adult Christmas program for 100 years. I mean, it's been a long time. But it was good. And so, I don't know. You got some hidden talents. I don't know. Maybe there's something the Lord is tugging on your heart to do. Maybe a ministry to start. Don't be afraid to step out and say, Pastor, I got a talent that I don't think is being used. Let's see how we can use it for the kingdom, to expand God's kingdom. And so, as we think of this, we want to be the good and faithful servant to the Lord. So we want to manage steward our talents, our abilities.